So today I've been fiddling with my Shaddoll deck list, and it's interesting. So I actually wanted to share this new build I have with you. It's exactly the same, except it's exactly the same, except you're running a one of the problems I've found with the Shaddoll cards is that you're suffering for draw power a lot of the time, and and things like Allure of Darkness aren't necessarily getting all your effects off, which is a problem. Now, that's fine and dandy, and having an Allure or two in is important, but I think there's better ways to go about doing this. So if we're already running 2 Pot of Avarice, you bump that up to 3, you push Allure down to 1 or 2, and then you have a Danger Dark World engine of about, I'd say, 5 to 8 cards, which really only consists of Dark World dealings, 1 or 2 Bow, the Huntman of Dark World, and a Danger Mothman. Pairing those with cards like Card of Destruction and all the other Shaddoll archetypes, everything that in this deck, when it's discarded, does something. You know, the danger cards and the Dark World will net you draws, and yes, while you're not able to, if you send them to the graveyard, if you send the Dark World one to the graveyard, you might not net a draw depending on the text on the Shaddoll card in question. Turn 1, it turns into a fantastic draw engine. Now, this deck is really more of a blind second deck, just because you have things like Super Poly and Quick Effects and Hand Traps and all these lovely things. But what this does is it gives you the deck thinning and an advantage engine that if you end up having to go first, you can pull something out. The only time this deck you're really screwed with this deck is if you get all monsters, and because you're running so many spells, that can be very rare. So when you have a handful of mostly monsters, you have really no way to get your Shaddoll's effects off on the first turn. So the best, before this, the best turn 1 board you could hope for is like the worst case scenarios in El Shaddoll Alkalone, which basically is battle protection and allows you to basically do nothing. And a better one would be El Shaddoll what's it called? El Shaddoll Winda, that's what it is. And you can take and with that, I mean, you're better off using setting a El Shaddoll fusion and using that after your opponent special summons for the first time, because then they're basically locked out of the rest of their play unless they have removal in the hand or basically only removal in the hand. So these cards play very well together. Fiddle with the ratios a little bit, but effectively you want to run 2 Shaddoll Beast in the main deck, 2 Shaddoll Beast, 1 Falco, 2 Hedgehog, 3 Squamata, because that Foolish Burial is ever so heavenly, 2 Dragon. So that brings us up to 2, 2, 2, 3, 10, 12. Then you're going to want to run 2 Aerial because so many cards are recursive. It's not a bad idea to get 3 problematic cards out of your opponent's graveyard. I believe I already said 2 Winda. If I didn't already say 2 Winda. A Mathematician, just because sometimes you don't have a great normal summon, and it's a rock solid card to normal summon, because at the end of the day you can just eat it and you can get a Squamata off. Then the Squamata sends another Shaddoll card, and then you get your effects, and now you're 3 cards away from being able to get a Pot of Avarice off. Then you're going to want and then you've got about 4 to 6 slots for hand traps. I decided to go with Nibiru, and I decided to go with Ash Blossom, just because realistically, as nice as something like Effect Veiler is, I find that more often than not, if I get because we're in such a board building type of game where special summoning is so frequent, being able to just yeet their entire board and throw a giant fucking rock on it is extremely helpful. Even so, it's your prerogative what you want to do if you want to go for a more negate control based. And then now moving out of the monster, and then obviously you're going to want your Brow Huntsman of Dark World. I would say maybe 2 to 3 copies, depending if you want to stay under the 40 limit. I would say 2 to 3 Danger Mothman, again, if you want to stay under the 2 to 3 limit. 3 Dark Word Dealings. Now we're getting into spells and traps. 3 Shaddoll Fusions, 2 El Shaddoll Fusions, 2 Super Poly. I would say with Dark Word Dealings you don't need a lure, but if you don't really care about keeping under the 40 deck, or keeping it under 50, I would say add 1, maybe 2 Allure of Darkness. Then I would add 2 Pot of Avarices. There's times where I've needed the 3rd, but it can come up a little too bricky. That's just my personal take. Then you're going to, now for the limited cards, you're going to want an Upstart Goblin, you're going to want a Card of Destruction, you're going to want a Foolish Burial. Those are, the Upstart is able to basically give you a partial mulligan. The Foolish is a Foolish. It activates your. It's basically a spell card that gives you El Shaddoll effect and Card Destruction. At worst, this card is a mulligan. It gives you basically all your. At worst, it basically refreshes your hand. If you got all spells. On the best case scenario, you just got off 4 different Shaddoll effects and with 1 card, and your entire board is built on top of getting 4 more cards to work with to immediately start going into your place. It can. Don't be afraid to. While this deck certainly has a certain level of removal in the shape of El Shaddoll Construct and Shaddoll Dragon's effect being sent to the graveyard, I find that adding a Raigeki and a Harpy's Feather Duster doesn't hurt. It sometimes they pop up in your opening hand when you don't need them, but there gets to be a point in the game where they're recurring the same bullshit over and over again, and it's being a problem, and you just because it's it's a great way to get rid of things like Mystic Mine. It's a great way to get rid of problem monsters that you if Floodgates, Dracovish the Morphage Dragon. It's a good way to get rid of that card because you can't activate any of your fusion effects, and it's too big because none of the Shaddoll monsters you have are big enough to get over it. So it's generally a pretty good bet, personally. What else? I believe that's it for the spell and trap lineup. You're not really playing any traps at all. You can play a Shaddoll Core or 2 if you want that. If you just want the ability to be able to just foolish a trap and have a Shaddoll effect and not have to and you just want to save certain other cards' effects, like certain other search effects for later, or you want to get a fusion spell back to your hand rather quickly. But that's the main deck in gist. For as far as the extra deck goes, I usually go with you can replace one of the Gristras El Shaddoll Gristra, the fire rock one, for Subterra Behemoth, because that card is just great at just getting more Shaddolls into the graveyard, more Shaddolls face down. It's a Shaddoll card more than a Subterra card, but I'm not gonna lie to you, that spot could be filled by another Winda, could be filled by another Gristra, could be filled by another Construct or an Alp Clone. You're sacrificing something because you need to have every single attributed Shaddoll card for coverage for your Super Poly, because you don't know what you're going to be going up against, and sometimes you might end up against a clear wing Synchro Dragon, and the only way for you to get rid of it without wiping your entire board because of negates is a Super Poly, and you don't have Wendigo. But my ratio right now is a Verte Anaconda, just so I can get instant Super Poly access in a pinch. 3 El Shaddoll Construct, 2 Alp Clone, and that brings us up to 6. Because we're running Super Poly, I run a Starving Venom Fusion and a Muddy Mud Dragon, so that brings us up to 8. I usually run 2 Gristra. I run the Water one and the Wind one. I run 1 Shekanaga, and I know that can be a little controversial, but we only have 1 Mathematician, and we're running Pot of Avarice, so it's not like we're completely running out of these things. I do also run a couple other Super Poly targets, like Chimera Duplexer. For machines, I run Dual Psychroid. And the rest are just Super Poly targets. As well as I put 2 Wendigo. So that brings us really up to 50. That's your 15. Side deck. This is where you can kind of slip in other hand traps and removal. I throw in, replace. You can put 2 Ghost Ogre to affect Veiler in case you're in a matchup where you need to swap some stuff out. You can also throw in some Twin Twister in there, because like I said, it's dark. If you got a Dark World card, if you got a Darkwood Brow in your hand, that's a net benefit. The side deck can really just have something, you can put some Dark Ruler No More, Forbidden Droplet, just cards that you can that are circumstantial to what you're going against. Dark Ruler No More might vary. Dark Ruler No More would probably be a good card to side deck in replacement of some of the other hand traps. But you got to remember, you got to hopefully keep, because I understand Gristra is certainly no Wendigo, but there is a big difference between, yes, preventing somebody from special summoning is good, but once it's gone, they can just go. If you can negate and destroy their special summon, then that's one more thing that they have to eat through to get to their plays, and that makes their end board less terrifying. I don't know about you, but if all my turn was just summon Gristra if my first turn was literally just summon summon Mathematician, if my first hand had Foolish Burial, El Shaddoll Fusion, and 3 other Shaddoll monsters, I literally would just do Foolish Burial, get net a draw add a different Shaddoll monster to my hand with fusion with the Ash Blossom, and then you probably do it with a probably fusion a Shaddoll Beast with a with Ash Blossom, and then now to draw most likely more likely than not, it might be another fusion, like it might be another Shaddoll spell. Like I mean, at the end of the day, most of our deck are draw spells. You know, that's most of what they are. So it's odds are you're going to get another Shaddoll card. So that's 3 negated summons, and a lot of these summon cards can only be used once per turn. So so if I'm going up against Dragon Link, I basically am able to sort of fuck up their day. Like they're unable to get like the thing about these decks is you can't let the ball get rolling, because once the ball gets rolling, you're done. You know, and it's really just about preventing them. And could that Ash Blossom have had a better use at killing a quick launch? Certainly, but it's, you know, at the end of the day, like those resources are now in the graveyard and they don't have access to them anymore. You know, so that's honestly my thing. But either way, this is my just a new idea I was mulling around with, and I'm having fun with it. I will say that I will say I did go against a ritual player, and I'm about to drop the incantations for the Datatron engine, because those look like a lot of fun. Anywho, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.